Hello, my name is Cheryl and I'm a librarian at Broward County Library. Please join me today as I present and discuss Ken Follett's Notre-Dame, a short history of the meaning of cathedrals. Do you remember where you were on the 15th of April, 2019? What were you doing and what happened that day? Many people worldwide may recall. On the 15th of April, 2019, in the early evening in Paris, France, the world-famous Cathedral of Notre-Dame de Paris, Our Lady of Paris, caught fire while Parisians and the world watched. Here's what we know about the fire. The fire occurred while a €150 million restoration project was in progress on the spire and the roof. At or around 6:18 p.m., a smoke detector first alerted building staff to a fire in the building. The fire is believed to have started in the attic section of the cathedral, an oddly shaped space above the soaring stone arches. This space has been nicknamed the forest because each beam forming the wooden roof consisted of an individual tree trunk. The fire spread rapidly, first engulfing the wood-framed spire covered in lead. At 7:57 p.m., the cathedral's spire collapsed, triggering a blast. Soon after 8 p.m., the cathedral's north tower caught fire. By 11 p.m., the tower was safe and the blaze was under control. Burning for 15 hours, the fire destroyed the 800-year-old wooden roof as well as the spire. The cathedral was badly damaged by the fire. The vaults under the crossing and in two other cells collapsed with the roof and spire. The cause of the fire remains undetermined. Investigators believe the fire was accidental. The investigation is ongoing. In addition to the damage mentioned previously, the fire melted 350 tons of metal scaffolding that had been erected for the renovation project. Smoke from the fire and water from the fire hoses damaged the inside of the landmark and the cathedral's rose windows. The majority of the cathedral's architectural, artistic, and religious artifacts and treasures, many of which are considered precious and irreplaceable, were saved. The world reacted to the fire. In Paris, people gathered along the Seine River to hold vigils, sing, and pray. French President Emmanuel Macron postponed his speech planned for the evening and went to Notre Dame, where he gave a brief address. He tweeted, "Like all our compatriots, I am sad this evening to see this part of us all burn." Numerous religious and government leaders extended their condolences to the French people and parishioners of the cathedral. In various ways, these dignitaries stated they were deeply saddened by the truly devastating fire, and they remarked upon the cultural tragedy, not just for Paris and France, but for the world. Similarly, onlookers worldwide expressed their emotions via social media channels and other forms of mass communication. While the cathedral was burning, the internationally renowned British novelist Ken Follett, who had just finished supper with his wife Barbara, received a telephone call at his home in England. An old friend was calling. In his book Notre-Dame, which Follett was to pen in the immediate aftermath of the fire, Follett describes this telephone call and his response to the fire. The voice on the phone was urgent. "I'm in Paris," it said. "Turn on your television." Follett continues, You know what we saw on the screen? The wonderful Cathedral of Notre-Dame, one of the greatest achievements of European civilization, was on fire. The scene dazed and disturbed us profoundly. I was on the verge of tears. Something priceless was dying in front of our eyes. The feeling was bewildering, as if the earth was shaking. Ken Follett started to get messages from newsrooms and journalists who knew his name because of his books. The author spent the remainder of the evening doing television, radio, and press interviews, explaining what was happening to the cathedral as it burned. About this experience, he writes, "At the same time as giving interviews, I was watching. The central spire was blazing infernally. The most heart-stopping moment of the evening for the grieving crowds on the street and the horrified millions watching television came when the spire leaned sideways, snapped like a matchstick, and crashed through the flaming roof of the nave. Notre Dame had always seemed eternal, but suddenly we saw that it could be destroyed." The next day, Ken Follett did more interviews. And then on Wednesday, April 17th, he flew to Paris for a discussion on a television program about the symbolism of cathedrals in literature and in life. Before Follett flew home from Paris, his French publisher asked him to write something new about his love of Notre Dame in light of the terrible event of April 15th. This book, which Follett describes on its last pages as an essay, was written in the immediate aftermath of the fire between April 19th and April 26, 2019. Profits and royalties from this book are going to the cathedral's rebuilding fund. In many ways, Ken Follett may be one of the best persons to write about Notre Dame in the aftermath of the 2019 fire. Described as one of the world's most successful authors, he has been prolifically productive over the course of his career. He has written 31 books that have sold over 160 million copies in more than 80 countries and 33 languages. Having long been fascinated and inspired by cathedrals, the author has researched them and visited them over the course of his career. Possessing sufficient notoriety, good fortune, and expertise, Ken Follett can draw the world's attention to Notre Dame, which recently was characterized in the press as the fragile old lady of Paris awaiting rescue. Ken Follett, as you may know, is British. He studied philosophy at University College London. He began his career as a reporter and music columnist. For financial reasons, he began writing fiction in order to make more money. The author's popularity and reputation initially stemmed from his international thriller and spy novels. In 1989, Ken Follett began writing massive historical novels. His Kingsbridge series bears the most relevance to his nonfiction book, Notre-Dame. The first book of this series, The Pillars of the Earth, is set in 12th century England and recounts the 4-decade-long construction of a cathedral and the efforts of the prior and the master builder to complete it and keep it from falling into the hands of a rival bishop. 26 million copies of The Pillars have been sold worldwide. The novel has been incredibly popular and successful. Both the title and subtitle of Ken Follett's book, Notre-Dame, A Short History of the Meaning of Cathedrals, are indicative of the author's approach to his subject. Ken Follett's approach is personal, specific, and social. He doesn't directly address his subject in terms of its religious or cultural significances, although he does mention them. Comprised of 6 chapters, each of which covers a specific year in the life of the cathedral, Ken Follett's Notre-Dame starts in the present with the fire on April 15, 2019. The author then looks back on different years in the history of the cathedral in order to construct its meaning in terms of its specific history. Chapters 1 and 6, respectively subtitled 2019 and 1989, frame Follett's history of Notre Dame and personally and explicitly link the author to the cathedral's history and the meaning of cathedrals. At this point, I don't want to say anything more about the book because I don't want to spoil it for those individuals who may be listening but have not read it. The reviews of Ken Follett's Notre Dame have been mostly favorable. The reviewer writing for Publishers Weekly wrote, Follett brings his expert scene building to snippets of Notre Dame's history. He packs a great deal into a short space. The author's appreciative tribute provides comfort that the scars of the recent fire will pass as well. Similarly, the reviewer writing for Kirkus Reviews comments, readers will enjoy Ken Follett's exploration of the great Parisian edifice and will want more. The reviewer writing for the Richmond News states, this book is not very long and does more to inspire curiosity and further research than fill in the gaps. That being said, Ken Follett's Notre Dame is a great place to start. While some reviews have been more critical, these reviews have also included many favorable comments about the author's book. These reviews may be described as mixed. Paul Thomas Murphy, writing for the New York Journal of Books, remarks, expecting Follett in this little book to live up to the promise of his subtitle is simply expecting too much. For the love of Notre Dame, this book is the book you will want. The reviewer for the New Yorker wrote, still, one can forgive him for the intrusions of ego that open and close this tiny treasure of a book, partly because all of us have taken the beauty of Notre Dame personally, but chiefly because in donating its proceeds, Ken Follett models the kind of generosity it will take to make that privilege available to future generations. Who should read Ken Follett's Notre Dame? This book will interest Francophiles or lovers of French culture. It also will be of interest to historic preservationists and others interested in preserving our world cultural heritage. Those people interested in the rebuilding of Notre-Dame de Paris will want to read this book. Fans of Ken Follett and fans of cathedrals will also want to read it. General readers who enjoy reading biographies and books about history, historical subjects, and culture also will find it of interest. Have I left anyone off this list? Ken Follett's Notre Dame is available from Broward County Library in audiobook and ebook formats, as well as in print. The book has been published in various languages, including English, French, German, Portuguese, Spanish, and Italian. Read-alikes are also available from Broward County Library in various formats and are not limited to Notre-Dame de Paris, History, Art, and Revival from 1163 to Tomorrow by Antonia Felix. Universe of Stone, a biography of Chartres Cathedral by Philip Ball. And The Gothic Enterprise, a guide to understanding the medieval cathedral by Robert A. Scott. Finally, Basilica, The Splendor and Scandal, Building St. Peter's by R.A. Scotti may also be considered a read-alike. In closing, I would like to mention that the author is publishing the fourth book in his Kingsbridge series, The Evening and the Morning, in September 2020. The library will have many copies of this book available for checkout. It's on order now, and you can telephone the library to put a hold on this book. Please return to the library's YouTube pages located at www.youtube.com/Broward County Library/users and the library's online calendar pages for information about other events and programs being given virtually. If you have any questions or you would like more information about Ken Follett, his books, or other library resources, please contact us. We can be reached by telephone at 954-765-1500 or by means of the Ask a Librarian service located at askalibrarian.org. Thanks for your attention today. We look forward to seeing you soon in the library. Have a great day.